What is Spring Framework? Spring Framework is an open source framework that makes Java enterprise development a lot easier. A lot of the code and configurations that you would have needed in the past to write any of your code would be taken care of for you with Spring, with the use of annotations. It had its inception in 2003 as a response to the complexity of early J2EE specifications. It lived up to this by making enterprise development much easier and is now the most popular application development framework for enterprise Java. It has evolved quite a lot since then and has a large and active community that gives feedback based on diverse real-world applications. This has enabled Spring to evolve over a long period of time. Spring Framework is lightweight and has a modular design. This means that you can include just the parts that you are going to need. You have the core of Spring at the center of the framework, which includes the configuration model and dependency injection mechanism. Spring provides foundational support for different architectures, including Spring MVC for web, Spring JPA for persistence, Spring Mail for email, and Spring Cloud for cloud-based architectures, amongst others. Spring also allows developers to create enterprise-level applications using POJOs, that is plain old Java objects, instead of entity beans. The benefits of this is that you don't need an application server to run your application, but you can deploy it on a lightweight, robust servlet container like Tomcat. It also uses dependency injection as an inversion of control method. This means that you can keep classes independent from each other, so that they can be more reusable and easier to test too. As from Spring 2.5, it became possible to configure dependency injection using annotations. You can now use annotations on the component class itself to add beans and bean configuration into it. One of these annotations is @component. That will tell a specific Spring class that it is a component, and Spring will then scan the class and add it to the application context. Another one would be @configuration. This would indicate that the specific class can be used by the Spring inversion of control container as a source of bean definitions. Then there's auto-wired for dependency injection. It will instantiate and auto-wire the attribute into your class directly, which means you don't have to instantiate it yourself, and it makes testing a lot easier. Then there is the @bean annotation that declares and adds the returned object of the method as a bean in the application context. Then there are also other annotations for, let's say, RESTful web services. There would be a @REST-controller, which indicates that the data returned by each method will be written straight into the response body instead of rendering it as a template, for example. Spring Boot helps you create standalone, production-grade Spring-based applications that you can run, but most Spring Boot applications need very little Spring configuration. It is built on top of Spring Framework, and it comes with many dependencies that can be plugged into the Spring application by using annotations or config files. It also offers a built-in web server like Tomcat or Jetty when needed. As a Java developer, I think Spring would be a very useful tool in your development arsenal,